So these are two very disturbing stories that were sent to me by viewers of my YouTube channel and friends. And the first of which is this is from the Daily Mail. Man spends $50,000 on over 100 procedures to transform into a genderless alien, and he plans to have his genitals and nipples and belly button removed. This kind of turned my stomach. Don't really want to talk about it. Speaks for itself. The link's in the description box. There's a video, but it's nauseating and self-explanatory, and I just want to move on to the next subject. Okay, so the other related topic came from a viewer in Canada, and this is for the University of Victoria, and they're now offering scholarships and fellowships for transgender people, specifically transgender people or people who can study who want to study transgender course studies. So here are the categories who can apply. There are 4 different categories: academically outstanding University of Victoria undergraduate, master's, or doctoral degree students pursuing trans-related research in any field. So there are fields now, subject fields, subject matters you could major in, I guess, trans-related type material. And then academically outstanding University of Victoria master's or doctoral degree students self-identifying as trans or non-binary, pursuing research in any field. So this is anybody who identifies as trans can get these scholarships or apply. Community-based scholars pursuing research at University of Victoria in any field which will benefit trans and gender non-conforming people. Now, this binary and non-conforming titles are convoluted, and also, when do nonconformists get benefit from the system? Because I've kind of been a nonconformist my whole life, and generally the system kind of pushes back against you. I mean, that's the whole idea about being nonconforming, but now you're being rewarded for it. Okay, so in the final subject matter here is visiting university-based scholars and professionals pursuing trans-related research at University of Victoria. And it says for all categories, priority will be given to those who self-identify as trans or non-binary. And I just wanted to make a distinction for both these articles and all of this stuff that we're covering, because there was this time when Bruce Jenner said, "I'm the new normal." And this came out, this phrase was used by a lot of people. And I think that we need to make a distinction here between normal and natural, because normal is based in society and social structures. And I think this is an important distinction to make, because people can make anything normal because they made human sacrifices normal. I mean, think about the behaviors that have been perpetrated by governments and religions and societies that were normal in that society, and they're pretty horrific. So normal isn't really a good barometer of whether something is okay, because just because everybody else is doing it doesn't make it right. But natural is something that we all should look at. Is this natural to human beings? Is this a natural behavior? Is this the way human beings were designed to live? You know, when you do things like, let's say you're a younger person, you get drunk or use drugs, or just being a younger person in general, and you make some bad decisions, and you don't really clarify what you're doing. It's a good idea when you're making a decision to really clarify and say, what exactly are we saying here? What exactly are we doing here? And that hasn't been said, because I talk about this in so many videos. This is an internal problem, a software problem for these people. And they're trying to force it not only on their own bodies, but now they're trying to force this, the powers that be are trying to force this on the rest of us. So this is something that we should all be aware of. This can become normal. They can make this normal. And certainly offering scholarships for something that people can pretend to be is going to normalize this. And then offering course study in this subject matter, where this is an academic field now, is going to make this normal, but it will never be natural. These types of behaviors will never be natural to the human being. These are not natural behaviors. These are not natural conditions. They're a deviation. There's something wrong here. It's some sort of diagnosable thing that they're trying to make normal. But again, you cannot make something natural. Natural isn't a choice. Natural isn't based on a vote. Natural isn't based on human desires and these types of things, human deviations. It's just whatever it is. Natural is whatever human beings are naturally designed to do and be. And like I said, this is something that people can fake. For financial benefit, you can have people now say, you know what? I want that scholarship and I'm just going to pretend to be trans. I don't want to pay for my education, these types of things. So when you start making these available to people, there's a couple things about this. Because there are a lot of Republican type people that watch these videos and they have differing views than me about slavery, for example, and the condition of the African American population. There is nothing good about the slavery that happened here, the Africans being taken over from Africa and the kind of treatment they received as slaves. Just being slaves is bad enough, but it was a horrific slavery. And then there is institutionalized racism in our country. And I think that people in the Republican Party, people who identify as being conservatives, have to think about this as being a truth, that there is racism, institutionalized racism, and black people have a disadvantage. And I also saw this in India with the caste system. And in both cases, the solution that has been promoted and is being used is some sort of quotas. And I don't know if quotas work. I don't really understand quotas as a solution, but I think there's a strong case that these are possibly a solution. The difference between what we see this thing with trans people and with the caste system in India and with institutionalized racism in America is this is something that has gone on for generations. See, there isn't generations of trans people, trans families. People can understand this. When you're born in a caste or you're born as a person of color, that is something that's gone on for generations. If there's unfair structural issues with your caste or your race, this is something that people suffer for generations. But trans people are born into conforming families for the most part. And so this isn't like you're righting a generational wrong for a select group of people. It's not based in choice. It's something that has happened. You're not choosing this. This is not a group that you can somehow identify with, like Rachel Dolezal. You're either born in this caste or you're born in a race, and there's nothing you can say about it. But if you understand what they're doing with this gender fluid movement, it's saying that everybody has a spectrum of sexual identification. So if you're a man, there is some part of you that has a woman inside of you, and then maybe on some days or for some periods of time, you want to identify as a woman, and that's normal. And that's what they're saying. So in reality, pretty much every person could identify as trans. And so when you offer perks like scholarships and these types of things, benefits, then you see more and more people choosing this or saying, yeah, I want to explore this. And this is being promoted by the very definitions that we are being given by the people who are in control of our system. And so this is completely different in terms of a quota system than we've seen in the past. And we're not even sure the quota. I know people are going to have opinions about quota systems. This is not righting some intergenerational wrong that has gone on for centuries or something, some really horrific acts that have been perpetrated by one group of people on another, and that those people were naturally who they were. I mean, castes, of course, the castes aren't natural, but certainly somebody's race is natural to who they are. And so again, going back to this distinction of normalizing something that's unnatural, and that's what we see. This is really what's going on here. If you understand the basic definition, just to come up with a basic definition of what we see going on here, is they're trying to make something normal that is not natural. And there's always going to be problems with this. Nature and God will always push back against this. When you go against the natural order of things, there's just consequences and there's pushback. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's just the way it is. We're supposed to find out what's natural to us and what our soul's path is for us. and follow that soul's path. I mean, that's what human beings, there's some constraints here. It's just not anything goes. And that's what this stuff is all about. It's really anything goes. Anything you think, anything you feel, that's okay, that's cool, it's normal. And we endorse that. And so that's where this is all heading. All right, this is Paul Romano reporting from the apocalypse. Everybody have a blessed day.